Cache Valley Cruising.
Cache Valley's biggest summer party is almost here. The Cache Valley Cruise-In, July 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Cache County Fairground. This year, the Cruise-In is going Motown with the Commodore. And opening act, the Temptations Review, featuring the legacy of Dennis Edwards. This year, all seats are assigned. So buy your tickets now to ensure you get the best seats available. The giveaway car is a beautifully restored 1950 Ford F3 pickup. And your ticket to the car show is your chance to win the truck. 3 days of fun includes the annual poker run, Women's World, Top Rod of Utah, a sock hop, and more.
Cache Valley Cruising. Cache Valley Cruising.
July 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a gorgeous Saturday morning. It's almost like Mother Nature wanted to give a little special gift to the moms this weekend with finally some really nice weather after the rain that we had earlier this week, which definitely can't complain about. But
don't we have like a month's worth of water in May already?
When you look at just overall the last, month and a half, we've had over we're pushing now 3 inches.
3 inches. Yeah.
3 inches of rain.
3 inches of rain. That's not too
definitely
shabby.
got a lot of moisture. Good morning, and grateful to have you join us for the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. Will Feelright along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, and so much to talk about this morning, Mark. We've got weeds, we've got insects starting to cause some problems, but we also have Mother's Day too.
Yes. And I'm looking at the 10-day forecast going, we might be able to plant stuff.
Get things started.
Yeah. It's so tempting because we're at what, the 10th? Is today the 10th? The 11th.
Yeah, the 11th.
The 11th. 10-day forecast says no frost. That puts us past the 20th. That's usually our average. Last frost is around the 20th. So it's like people are coming in. They're like, can I plant my tomatoes? It's like, your guess is as good as mine, but I think I'm going to plant mine.
How lucky you're feeling.
Yeah.
Well, and not only is it just looking promising just because it might get us past that frost window, but if you just look at the overall nightly temperatures, when we're in the mid to high 40s, then you feel pretty comfortable. If we were going to be down into the mid to high 30s, then you might say hold off a little bit.
Better hold off. But, if we get some nice 70-degree temperatures this next week, and next weekend's looking really nice, man, that puts us almost in the safe zone.
Yeah.
Almost in the safe zone.
Mid to high 70s is what we're hoping for next weekend.
What I usually tell people, though, is like, my daughter's birthday is on Flag Day.
Okay.
And when she was 1, we had 3 inches of snow on her birthday. Day before her birthday, actually.
Yeah.
So 13th of June.
We all remember those snowstorms that have hit us in June, and it is always possible.
Yeah, that's one we'll never forget. So that was a lot of snow. But it melted really fast. So it didn't freeze, but it snowed.
Yeah. And it's enough that can do some damage.
Yes.
But overall, if you look at the overnight temperatures, the coolest it's going to get overnight, at least if we follow the forecast model, is going to be 46 degrees.
I think I can live with that.
And so,
Yep. I think I can live with that.
Well, we'll have daytime temperatures right around the mid to low 70s. So
yeah.
that's going to really help bring that soil temperature up.
Right.
Just make it prime for planting.
So our indicator for when it's time to plant, and it's like safe, we're not going to have any more frost, is when the 77s show up on the mountainside up above, I think it's up above Millville. And so if you're like standing by the temple or up by Old Main and looking south, there's some peaks on the mountain that you can see. And when the 77s show up there, when the snow melts to a certain point, it leaves like 2 snowbanks that look like big 7s.
Oh, so,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and when those appear, that means it's really time to plant. I'm looking at them right now, and they're not showing yet. There's still a lot of snow up there on those peaks. So.
But we had just some of it fall this week.
We did. So maybe it'll disappear really fast. But I haven't seen the 77s appear yet. So they're kind of starting to show a little bit. But
overall, though, if you just look throughout the area, I was up in Green Canyon yesterday afternoon on my lunch break, and Green Canyon is greener than ever.
Yeah,
it was just foliage everywhere.
Yeah.
And really no snow until you hit about the third dam area, or the third watering trough, as we call it. And that's pretty much all the way up at the top near the trailhead. So
well, the valley's going to be green. It's going to be gorgeous, and grasshoppers are going to love it.
Yeah, definitely. And we want to talk about grasshoppers and weeds and everything else. Yep. And we can take your calls if you have a question or comment for the show. It's a question from Mark. Call in to 753-5868, 1-800-369-5868. It seems bizarre that we'd already be talking about insects, but they are definitely all over.
Grasshoppers and aphids. But it is Mother's Day weekend, so how exciting for Mother's Day weekend to have some gorgeous weather like that. We've got beautiful hanging baskets. So hanging baskets look absolutely amazing in the store right now. We've got some extra planters as well, too, that are looking good as well. 3 trucks of plants came this week. And that's outside plants, so that's like nursery stock, so shrubs and trees, and I have a parking lot full of roses that look absolutely gorgeous. So we've got gorgeous roses. We're overloaded with beautiful shrubs. Some gorgeous hydrangeas came in, just some beautiful flowering shrubs that would make amazing Mother's Day presents. And the roses look just stunning. They came in from Northern California this year, and they just look gorgeous right now. And some new flowering trees as well, too. So got a few more dogwoods in. Got some more magnolias in, like the big saucer magnolias. Oh, wow. Yeah, so they're gorgeous. And some more flowering cherries. So we got a really nice selection of plants in. So trees make a great present. Hydrangeas make a great present. Roses. Got some hibiscus. Got some hibiscus trees. Then we got some citrus as well, too. So if you've been looking for a lime or a lemon or tangerines, we got some citrus plants in that are just, they look great. They look really good right now. So got those, and then some mandevilla and some bougainvillea as well, too. So the citrus and the tropicals, they're not hardy to like stay outside all the time. Yeah,
gonna have to move them.
But they're absolutely gorgeous right now. So they're in full bloom. They look amazing, and they'd make great presents for moms or grandmas. And then in the fall, you want to make sure and bring those inside. So you're going to want to put those in a nice decorative pot. Some of our pottery's on sale for Mother's Day as well, too. Yeah, so we've got some gorgeous pots. We've got some great plants. So if you're looking for citrus, we just got our shipment of citrus in, so the trees look really nice. We've got some smaller ones, too, that aren't quite so expensive. And then the mandevilla and the bougainvillea. Got some jasmine as well, too, and a whole bunch of vines. So lots of really nice plants outside. And then all the perennials came in this week, too. So we're stocked on perennials. I've got hostas. I've got beautiful columbines that are in full bloom. And, just the greenhouses just, they look amazing. They're just full of flowers and full of vegetables and full of plants, and they look really good. But if mom's not into plants, but she still likes to garden, we've got gift certificates for seeds. We've got gloves. We've got hats. We've got gorgeous wind chimes. I think we've sold quite a few wind chimes this week just for Mother's Day, but they range from 20-inch wind chimes up to 65-inch wind chimes. I've got some huge ones that just will ring and resonate for a really long time. Bird feeders make great Mother's Day presents too, whether it's a hummingbird or regular bird feeder. I think the bird feeder at my house isn't really so much for my wife as it is for the cat. So cat just like constant entertainment with the birds coming in there. So unfortunately, we've had a few casualties as well too. But
we were walking around the neighborhood taking the dogs out and saw my first few hummingbirds.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they're showing up already.
They're
Yeah.
already here.
That's also a good sign that we're kind of moving into, early summer, late spring.
Yeah.
We'll call it late spring. It's not quite summer yet.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Late
Definitely
spring.
looking forward to some warmer temperatures. And so,
Moving into late spring. We do have some really great specials today, though. So today only, so make sure and come take advantage of it. Our 4-inch succulents, they're usually $9. We're selling them for half price, so they'll be $4.50. So that's a today, Mother's Day weekend only sale. 4-inch succulents, $8.99 regularly, $4.50 on sale. Then we've got our jumbo strawberries that are in 6-packs, growing like crazy. They look great. Some of them even have fruit on them. The jumbo strawberries are usually $9.99. We're doing them on sale for $4. So today only $4 for the jumbo 6-packs on the strawberries. And then this is our radio special today. So our special word, our special phrase today to get this special is "Mum's the word."
Mums.
Mum's the word.
Okay.
Since it is Mother's Day, Mum's the word. Our geraniums are regularly $4.99, and they're currently on sale for $2.50, but we're going to do them for $1.99. So $2 for our 4-inch geraniums, and to get that special extra 50 cents off, you got to say "Mum's the word" at the checkout area. So make sure that they hear you and they understand that you're saying "Mum's the word." But that'll give you an extra 50 cents off on the geraniums that are already on sale for half price. So that'll knock another 50 cents off. So it makes them $2 each for 4-inch geraniums, and I've got tons of great looking ones. So some really nice looking ones. But don't forget, hanging baskets look amazing right now.
Yeah.
So we're burning through hanging baskets like crazy for Mother's Day.
Okay. And we can talk about some of the ways to be able to keep those hanging baskets beautiful all summer long.
Yeah, we're planning ahead to put the baskets out on Main Street in probably not next week, but the week right before Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're already planning ahead, making sure the water system's working, got our fertilizers in. We're ready to rumble.
Good.
Yeah, we're ready to rumble. So
all right. Well, lots to talk about this morning. We can take your calls at 753-5868 and 1-800-369-5868. That's KVNU. First, I think we probably ought to talk about weeds and grasses, because I know that's the question I get a lot from our neighbors in and around our neighborhood is dandelions, clover, and then on top of that, you have just a lot of grasses just taking over in some areas.
Morning glory and thistles and puncture vine and burr buttercup, all those little evil weeds that are out there right now. Isn't it appropriate for us to talk about killing things on Mother's Day? Because I've got a lot of mothers coming in right now going, "What's the best weed killer you've got?" Because I am so tired of this puncture vine. It went through my flip-flop last year and
popped my tires.
Yeah, they're just not very nice. So there's some really, really great options, because I too have got puncture vine and burr buttercup and morning glory and stuff coming up all over the place. So in my lawn, last year and this year, I think we've got more weeds in my lawn than I have in the last 15, put together, add them all together. So between the moisture last year, all that extra moisture, and the cold temperatures, and then all the moisture this year and the cold temperatures that we've had so far, the weeds have just gone crazy. They've gone berserk. And so best options for weeds in your turf without hurting the lawn, Weed-Free Zone for sure. And it comes in a weed and feed version as well as in the liquid version. I prefer the liquid version so I can go out and spot treat instead of doing the herbicide over the entire lawn. But if you do want to do the weed and feed, the Weed-Free Zone comes in a weed and feed, so it's got a great fertilizer with it, has extra iron in there, really green the lawn up, make it look good. But you got to put it on the right way. So there's a correct method for putting it on. You want to put it on when the grass is a little bit damp. You want to leave it on for 24 hours, and then you want to water it afterwards. And it's best if you can mow a couple days before or a couple days after you make the application.
Okay, so you're not bothering it.
Right. So you need that grass to be slightly damp. So if it's not damp first thing in the morning with the dew, a little bit of moisture residue, just turn the sprinklers on for just 2 minutes. Just a little bit of moisture out there. Then make the application with the weed and feed. The Weed-Free Zone's going to hands down be your best option that way, because it works in cooler temperatures. It works on harder to kill weeds. It works faster. So it's just a little bit more potent weed killer than what you would normally see, but it won't hurt your turf. And then after you apply that, leave it on for 24 hours before you water it in, but then make sure and water it in after that. So it needs to be watered in. If you do the liquid, it's a lot more forgiving, especially if you use a surfactant or a spreader sticker with it. You can spray, and within 30 minutes, if it rains, it's still going to kill those weeds. And it's very, very effective on all those hard-to-kill weeds. I mean, it'll take out dandelions, no problem, and chickweed and spurge and clover, morning glory, wild violets, thistles, mallow, all the tough stuff, but it won't hurt your turf. So very, very effective that way. So you can, great time to fertilize. Our second step is usually between Mother's Day and Memorial Day. And so now is prime time for getting that second application of fertilizer on. Get the lawn as healthy as possible before the heat kicks in mid-June to late June. That's when it really starts to get hot. And then a lot of my customers the last couple of years that have really wanted to conserve on water, they've been using either the Back to Green or the Hydrotain. And we recommend you put that on the end of this month. So the Hydrotain and the Back to Green both will help the water be absorbed down into your soil. They will hold that moisture right in the root zone for your plants, for your turf especially, a lot longer. And it cuts your water down by 30 to 50%. So if you really want to conserve water this year, make sure and send a little extra water down to the Great Salt Lake. The Hydrotain and the Back to Green are critical for that, because you really can cut back your water by 30 to 50% and still maintain your lawn as green as it was previous years. If
you apply that at the end of this month, you're looking at only one application that should get you through the summer. It
lasts 90 days.
Yeah,
90 days. So you put on the 1st of June, it's going to last until Labor Day.
Yeah,
and when that happens, you're in great shape.
Yeah. Usually by then we're looking at some cooler temperatures,
starting to cool
a little bit more moisture coming in.
I can tell almost within a week of when my Hydrotain has quit working.
It's that noticeable.
That's that noticeable, because sometimes that first part of September is still kind of hot. We're like in the mid 80s, and I've got a couple south-facing slopes where I apply it. It really, really helps. And then some compacted areas in front of my house where people try and turn around in my driveway and miss it, drive on the grass, and you know how that works. Yeah, it's not me, it's not my kids, it's other people that come and do that. Nice big driveway, looks like a nice inviting place to turn around. But where we put that, within a week of the Hydrotain kind of starting to wear off, it will start to scald on that south-facing slope that we like to apply it. So it really does last the 90 days through the whole summer. It's like amazing, but makes that water much more effective and last a lot longer. So instead of watering on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays all week, you could go Mondays and Thursdays. So like twice a week.
Cut back a full day.
Yeah, I could that's a 33% decrease right there. If you're just watering on 2 days a week instead of 3 days a week, makes that much of a difference with the Hydrotain and the Back to Green. They both work amazingly well.
Great.
Yeah, they really do help.
And that brings up a great question that we've had, watering. With all of the rain that we had last week, we're saying, there's really no need to have those sprinklers running yet.
Right.
And I see very few people that have started running their sprinkler systems. But we are getting into where we're going to be in the mid to high 70s.
Right.
That chance of rain is going to start to decrease. And so it is time to start looking at turning on those sprinklers.
We should be watering the lawn about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water per week. And so this week we've gotten close to 1 inch. So it kind of stopped raining, snowing, all that stuff about Wednesday. So probably by about Wednesday of next week, you're going to want to turn the sprinklers on.
Start getting them going.
Yeah. You're going to want to turn the sprinklers on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. The grass is probably going to start showing a little bit of stress. So we've got water in our secondary system now. So I'm going to charge the sprinklers this weekend and have those ready to go. But I'm not going to water until the grass kind of tells me it's a little bit thirsty. Then a good deep watering, and then give it another 4 or 5 days if you can. Let's let it go a little bit longer in between. So we should be applying about 3/4 of an inch of water with each application, and sometimes you have to time the sprinklers and see how much water they put out, and hopefully the extension will be doing water tests
the
again
water
this year.
tests.
Yeah, because that was super, super effective. And I think it really helps a lot of people figure out how long they need to leave their sprinklers on to put that 3/4 of an inch of water out there so they can be as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
But if you can do 3/4 of an inch of water with each application, 2 applications each week with the Hydrotain or with the Back to Green, your lawn will stay green all summer long with 30 to 50% less water.
Less water.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And then mowing. Right now, mow a little bit closer. So I'm seeing people mowing taller right now, but mow a little bit closer. When you mow closer, it encourages your grass to spread horizontally. So it gets the root system to spread and fill in maybe some of the bare spots that you've had, the gaps. Yeah, we want that grass to be really thick and full. But then when it starts to get hot, when we start getting up into the mid 80s and low 90s, then mow it as tall as you can. So mow it at 4 inches, where right now we could do 2.5. Mow it at 4 inches. And then it's going to help conserve water also. So the taller grass doesn't it shades the soil, keeps the soil moist longer. Grass just performs better when it's taller throughout the summertime. It won't scald as much. And so right now, mow closer, 2.5 inches, perfect. And you can probably start mulching. I like to wait until it really dries up and turns warm before we mulch. But you could probably start mulching. But now's a good time to bag because the grass is growing so fast that it's hard to mulch when it's growing that quickly.
Yeah, I know I'm mowing my neighbor and then my own yard last weekend, and then I look out this morning and I think, well, I'm going to be doing it again. Because, all of the water that we've had, it's just causing the grasses to take off.
We haven't had any callers yet.
Phone lines are open.
Callers?
753-5868, 1-800-369-5868. You mentioned charging your sprinkler system, and this is always one thing that, for a lot of people that have automatic sprinkler systems, that you want to make sure that as you charge those systems, that you also make sure that all of your sprinkler heads are working. A lot of times during the winter months, you can have, especially if you have like rainbirds like we do in our backyard, those a lot of the times as you come out of the winter months and into summer, those rainbirds may get stuck. And or need to be replaced. I think back to one year we started using our sprinkler systems and we would water at night, and then after a couple of weeks I thought, man, it doesn't look like we're doing any good out here.
Doing anything.
Everything's dead except for this one strip that was just as green as ever, and come to find out, those sprinklers, as they were popping up, a couple of those rainbirds were just stuck. One of them had to be replaced. The other one, we were able to just actually
need a
twist
little
it
lubrication, maybe, just to get that to go.
Started working again. So it's always a great idea, especially if you have it on an automatic system and you're watering overnight, like a lot of us do. Make sure you check and make sure that those lines are all working properly.
We usually recommend people check it once a month through the summertime, just to make sure things are working, because plants grow, sprinkler heads get broken, stuff happens. And
hit it with a lawnmower.
And all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I wonder if the bugs are like attacking that spot because it's like brown and your sprinkler's just not hitting it. I mean, that happens all the time. And a few years ago when we replaced a section of our lawn, we had set the sprinklers for planting new grass. And so they were set to just go for like 5 minutes. And I forgot to change it in the springtime. And so all the lawn was green. This one was kind of just stressing a little bit, and it's just like, dang, I wonder what's going on. I was like, I wonder if there's a disease that have hit it or something. And then finally realized that the rest of the lawn was going 40 minutes. And it was getting like 10. Because it was going twice a day for 5 minutes. And so it was getting a quarter of the water that the rest of the lawn was. But it actually hung in really pretty well because it was our new drought-tolerant grass. So I didn't notice for about a month. And then finally I was just like, dang, it's just not performing the way it ought to. It's been really green all spring. And then went out there and checked. It's like, oh, my gosh, it's on for 5 minutes, twice a day. So that's what happened. So make sure and get out there and check your sprinklers. Make sure everybody's working. Waking up in the morning and seeing water on the sidewalk does not mean you've checked the sprinklers.
And that they were working properly, for sure. All right, well, let's go out to the phone lines with our first caller on the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. Jim is joining us on the line from Logan. Jim, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I have a question. My lawn is just phenomenal. It's deep dark green, but I've got a couple of patches where it's like lime green, almost fluorescent green.
Okay.
And I have no idea why. I mean, it's growing really fast.
Right.
It's just odd.
There are occasions where you get a little extra fertilizer there, a little extra nitrogen, and it will be a little bit more lime green. And so it hasn't burnt the grass, but it will go a little bit lime green. I've got a couple spots in mine as well, too, where I was overlapping the spray on the fertilizer, not the spray, but the granules, as I was broadcasting the granules out, where I overlapped just a little bit, and I've got a few little streaks where it's just a much lighter green, and it's growing faster than the other grass, so it got a little extra nitrogen. If you want to even it up, the best thing to do is just put some extra iron on there. Like just a good iron-based product.
Like ironite or something?
The ironite would be really good. The Back to Green is one of my favorites because not only does it have the soil penetrant in there to get the soil to absorb and retain the moisture, but it has a really high dose of iron in it. So you apply that right now, you'll have the greenest lawn in the whole neighborhood. Like it will even everything up without fertilizing again too much. I don't know when you fertilized last, but you're probably close to time to fertilize again, but this wouldn't interfere with your fertilizer, but it would give you that really nice even green all the way through the lawn.
Okay. I've also got a patch where it looks like the wild violets in my lawn have started coming in.
Yes.
Is it warm enough to start treating those, or they need to wait till it gets a little warmer overnight?
We have 70-degree daytime temperatures coming up, and it would work amazing. It's like perfect. I prefer to do it before it gets too hot, and so the weeds are well watered and healthy right now, and that's when they accept the herbicide the best. For the wild violets, I would recommend either the Weed Free Zone or the Spurge Power. Spurge Power is a little bit more potent on the wild violets, but make sure you use a surfactant. So use the herbicide enhancer from High Yield or the spreader sticker from High Yield, and that will make your herbicide penetrate in and be much, much more effective, especially on those hard-to-kill weeds like the wild violets. Be persistent. Usually takes at least 2 applications to get the wild violets. They are tough.
Yeah, they are.
They are tough.
I've had them for years, and it seems like you get rid of them, and then 2 or 3 weeks later they're coming back.
They sneak back. Yep, they sneak back. So understandable.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for calling, Jim. Have a great weekend.
Okay, and that clears up the phone line at 753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868. We've got our bottom of the hour news break, but we've got more time to take more of your calls, and we'll be right back here on The Garden Guide on KVNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KVNU News. A 44-year-old man has admitted to assaulting a Providence woman who is trying to help him. Cesar Contreras Guerrero has been in the Cache County Jail since being arrested December 19th. According to court records, Contreras Guerrero participated Monday in Logan's 1st District Court, where he accepted a plea deal. According to prosecutors, Cache County Sheriff's deputies received a call from a 65-year-old woman back on November 18th. She explained how she had allowed Contreras Guerrero to stay at her apartment after learning he did not have a place to live. The woman said he was doing construction nearby, and she intended to only have him stay 2 nights, but it turned into more than a month. On the night she called deputies, the woman said the suspect had been consuming alcohol and smoking marijuana. He began accusing her of drinking some of his alcohol and became enraged. The woman said Contreras Guerrero confronted her in the bedroom and began striking her, kicking her in the leg and punching her in the mouth. He then pushed her backwards onto her bed and began strangling her, causing her to lose consciousness several times. The assault lasted around 5 minutes. Cache County officials are advising motorists of a road closure that will impact travel in the south end of the county through Wednesday. Motorists are being warned that 7400 South near Paradise is closed to through traffic between SR 165 and 400 West until Wednesday, May 15th. Mostly clear skies at night, sunny to partly cloudy during the day, lows in the low to mid 40s, highs low to mid 70s. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
From ABC Sports, I'm Mark Remillard. NBA Conference semifinals. Out west, the Nuggets came storming back in Game 3 to beat the Timberwolves 117-90, avoiding going down 3-0 in the series and making it 2-1. Head coach Michael Malone said the game might be their best performance of these playoffs.
We finally played a game as close to 48 minutes. It might have been the best game of the playoffs for us, to be honest. I don't think we played great in the first round. We had moments, but in the playoffs, man, you got to start stringing quarters together, halves together.
Meanwhile, the Pacers look to avoid falling into a 3-0 hole last night, hosting the Knicks, all even in the final minute of the game, and Andrew Nembhard would bury the biggest shot of his life, worthy of Mike Breen's signature call.
Shot clock at 4. Nembhard's got to put it up. Step back. His three-pointer. Bang! Nembhard knocks the three down.
On ESPN, that made it 109-106 Pacers. They held on to take Game 3 in Indianapolis, 111-106. Nembhard, after the game, on his shot.
My shots felt really good this whole playoffs, and I think I've been shooting it well. So I felt confident stepping into those shots, and sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't.
In the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Canucks hosting the Oilers in Game 2, looking for a 2-0 series advantage, but Edmonton was having none of it. Knotted at 3 in overtime. 5 minutes in, Evan Bouchard would help the Oilers regain home ice advantage.
Bouchard stepped in and then shot it tipped home. Evan Bouchard let fly, and Edmonton has taken Game 2.
The final call on 6:30 CHED, 4-3 Oilers, the final. Game 3 in Boston between the Bruins and Panthers. With the series tied at 1, the Panthers would dominate the Bruins en route to a 6-2 win and a 2-1 series lead. I'm Mark Remillard, ABC Sports.
This Mother's Day, surprise mom with flowers and a piece of jewelry from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Choose from a large selection of birthstone, silver, and diamond jewelry. Or you may find something special for her in our family jewelry collections, or an S.E. Needham gift card may be timely. With the purchase of $99 or more, you'll receive a spring bouquet of flowers. Come shop today, open 10 to 7. For the people and occasions that matter most, S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Monday on This Morning, America's First News. A growing amount of chaos at home and abroad is threatening President Biden's re-election campaign. Can he manage divided Democrats? Also, the tables have turned on home sellers ahead of the busy buying season. Hear how buyers are regaining some of their lost leverage. And when job searches are derailed by tattoos and piercings. Monday on This Morning, America's First News. Monday morning from 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
The expert with a green thumb. It's the Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. As right now, 44 degrees, headed towards the low 70s for today, and it's going to be a beautiful day. You know, we were talking earlier about just how nice the weather is expected to be over the next couple of days, but last night, Mother Nature giving us quite a light show with the Aurora Borealis.
That's what I understand, yeah. I did not see it personally, but we have seen a lot of photos, so very cool.
My kids and I went, originally we thought, well, we'll drive up into the mountains, but about 9:30 we're like, yeah, let's just walk into the backyard, call it good. But if you snapped your phone just right, you'd catch just a little bit of it here in Logan.
Very cool. You don't have any houses around you where you live anyway, so there's no
if you go into the
light
backyard,
pollution,
in the backyard you get a little less light. Front yard was lit up like daytime, but backyard,
that's cool.
We cheated a little bit.
That's all right. Great deals going on at Anderson's this weekend for Mother's Day. So, of course, we have gorgeous hanging baskets in stock. I've got beautiful tropical flowering plants like mandevilla and bougainvillea and jasmine, which we don't carry a whole lot often. I guess not often do we carry those, but we have citrus. So I've got lemons and I've got limes and I've got, I think there was a couple oranges as well too, and some kumquats as well too. So we have some tropicals and citruses, and then just gorgeous shrubs came in this week. So I've got some beautiful ground cover yews that look amazing. I've got hydrangeas. We brought in some really specimen boxwoods, some beautiful hibiscus trees as well too. So the roses just look amazing right now. So lots of great presents for Mom, as well as garden like wind chimes and bird feeders and all kinds of like really helpful tools for Mom if she likes to plant, and a lot of great outdoor decor. We've got wind spinners and lots of fun stuff at Anderson's. But we do have some great specials this weekend for Mother's Day. So our 4-inch succulents today only, they are regularly $8.99, and we've got them on sale for half price. So just today, half price, 4-inch succulents. The jumbo strawberries, they are in jumbo 6-packs, so there's 6 strawberry plants. Some of them have fruit on them right now. They're normally $9.99. We've got them on sale today only, for $4. So great deal on the jumbo strawberries. And then our secret word of the day today is for our geraniums. So geraniums are regularly $4.99. We've got them on sale for $2.50. But if you say the word of the day, you'll get them for $1.99. So it'll save you 50 cents on each geranium, which is significant. The word of the day is mum's the word.
Okay.
Yeah, mum's the word.
Secret phrase.
Yeah, secret phrase.
Just mention it to the cashiers as you're going out.
Yep. And then you will get that special extra 50 cents off on the geraniums. But they're on sale otherwise. They're already on sale for half price. So they're $2.50, regularly $4.99. And then if you get the special phrase, or the secret phrase for today, mum's the word, then you get extra 50 cents off on those geraniums. So that's all the 4-inch geraniums is what we're talking about. So hanging baskets, beautiful roses, hydrangeas look awesome. We've got just like tons of gorgeous shrubs right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A lot of things to be able to plant. And we were mentioning earlier as we started out the show, as you look at the temperatures over the next week or so, when we have daytime temperatures in the low 70s and overnight temperatures in the high 40s, it's looking like you can probably start putting some of those plants out.
Beans and corn can probably go out. And if you use hot caps or grow it nows or walls of water, aquadomes, tomatoes and peppers, they could probably go out as well too. I'm starting my squashes, melons, cucumbers inside like this weekend, so that they'll be ready in a couple weeks to transplant out. So I'm gonna get those started probably today. So that should work out. That should work out really well.
We should also mention, before we started the show, we were sharing some stories of this past week, and you were telling me a little bit about transplanting your pumpkins.
Yes. So giant pumpkins have been growing for about 28 days, and they look amazing. So I've got them transplanted into 3-gallon pots. They have overtaken the pots, and they are now probably 30 inches across. I mean, they're just huge already. They're only 28 days from seed, so they are taking off like crazy. So last night I decided to transplant them. So I've got weed barrier down, and I've got cold frames warming up the soil where I was going to plant them. So the soil was a little bit warmer. So last night I pulled the cold frames off, cut a big hole in the weed barrier, and then I amended the soil. So I put some biochar in there, we put some zeolite in there, and I put some Garden Max out there and just worked that all into the soil, dug some nice big holes, and put some really nice planting mix, high coconut core, just really premium potting soils, and mix some of the biochar and other stuff in with that as well too. And then I got those guys planted, and then when I took them out of those 3-gallon pots, they've only been growing in those 3-gallon pots for not quite 2 weeks. The root system had completely filled the pots, like absolutely completely filled the pots. In 2 weeks, yeah. Those 3-gallon pots, the root system was just covered. So when I took them out of the pot, none of the soil fell apart. That's how much root system was in there.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I got those planted, backfilled with that really nice soil, and then I watered them with a new secret ingredient. Yeah.
Trying out.
New secret ingredient, yes. And so we'll see how it works. But I planted them last night. I was out there in the dark with my headlamp on. I mean, honestly, 9 o'clock, I was out there in the dark with the headlamp on, got them planted, got them watered in with the new secret ingredient, and they did not go through any transplant shock.
None at all.
This morning, they looked exactly like they did when I took them out of the pots, except I did break one of the leaves off.
Oh.
Yeah, so, well, it was dark.
Snapped one of the stems.
It was like a little dark. So, but otherwise, they were looking great. Cold frames worked awesome. So I vented the cold frames, put a little shade cloth on today. I didn't want them to get sunburned because, they've been inside, so getting full sun. But we'll see how they look tonight when we get home. And if they're looking great, then that's that new secret ingredient I'm really, really kind of stoked about.
Take off.
I'm going to be using it on my tomatoes, and we'll be doing some experimenting this year, we'll see. So I've been using the Kangaroots, and I still used the Kangaroots with them last night, but we had an extra added ingredient that we put in there, and zero transplant shock.
It's like the old movie Little Shop of Horrors.
Yep, exactly.
Those pumpkins are going to take over your house.
Feed me.
All right. Well, if you have a question for Mark, phone lines are open at 753-5868 at 753-KVNU or 1-800-369-5868.
We have 15 minutes for phone calls.
We can take them. And let's start off and talk a little bit about insects, because you were mentioning earlier that you're already getting some calls and questions about grasshoppers.
Yeah, I got people coming in already. They're like, I got little baby grasshoppers all over. It's like, what? It's it's like the 10th of May,
and I'm seeing little baby
crazy.
box elder bugs.
Box elder bugs,
everywhere.
yeah. That makes sense with the box elder bugs. Fortunately, we can use the same product on both, and so this year we are fully stocked for a grasshopper invasion again. And so when they're tiny like that, great time to do a general purpose insecticide. So from High Yield, we've got indoor, outdoor, and the Bug Blaster work amazing. I love the Bug Blaster. It's a little bit more potent, but you can't use it in vegetable gardens. And so it's great for using on turf and on shrubs and on flowers and along the fence line and over into your neighbor's field, where the grasshoppers are coming from. Works great that way. But if you want to spray it on your edibles, then I'd probably switch to either our Sayonara or our 7 product. And those are both very safe for fruits and vegetables, but very, very effective on grasshoppers, mosquitoes, squash bugs, spiders, ants, earwigs.
Yeah.
All those critters that we're going to be dealing with.
Caterpillars.
Yeah. But the squash bugs, I'm afraid, they were bad last year. They're probably going to be bad again this year. And the grasshoppers were horrific. Yeah, it was like horror show last year with the amount of grasshoppers that we had. So we've got to be aggressive with those. Of course, this year also no Nolo bait, so the Nolo bait still is not available. But we do have a new bait, and it's called Niban. And the Niban is unique in the fact that it is very, very low toxicity for people, but very, very effective on the critters that eat it. And it is rain resistant. I wouldn't call it rain proof, but it is rain resistant. So it'll handle probably 6 to 10 rain events before it starts to deteriorate. And it's UV resistant as well too, so the sunlight won't break it down either, which has been a problem with the Nolo bait. The Nolo bait gets wet, it's worthless. Yeah, and if it sits out in the sun too long, then it breaks down. And so this bait is much more resilient, and if the grasshoppers eat it, it will kill them in a short amount of time. But it is really non-toxic for birds. If the birds come and eat it, won't hurt them. It won't bother your chickens if your chickens are pecking away at it. It's a really, really safe product to use in and around your garden and yard. It doesn't go quite as far as the Nolo bait, but super, super effective. And it does have an attractant in there, so it'll attract the insects to it. But I found the spray to be the most effective, along with my repellent. So I'm using my cedar oil repellent. So.
And now, for those who may have bees in their yard or from a neighbor's hive, what about how does the Bug Blaster work with bees?
Great question. So I have a hive at home, and usually I have 2, and I just make sure and spray in the evening when everybody's gone home. So by dusk, bees have already pretty much gone
back
home.
In the hive.
Yep, and then you can go out and you can spray. And as long as you're not spraying open flowers, you probably won't be bothering your bees at all, because they really only land in the open flowers. You don't see them landing on the grass all over the place. And so spray in your strategic locations, and that way you'll be much less likely to damage your bees or your neighbor's bees. Or you just don't want to bother those. So at dusk, try and do your sprays in the evening. It'll have plenty of time to dry. by the next morning when everybody goes out, then you'll be safe for pets and kids as well too. So just keep them out of it while it's wet, but once it dries, you'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be good. So, yep, grasshoppers bad. Aphids are showing up as well too. So we're seeing a lot of aphids. So probably time to start preventing aphids if you haven't already. So the tree and shrub drench from Fertilome, great way to prevent aphids on maples and on lindens and on all of the flowering plum trees. They just love those, and the leaves will curl downwards. You'll see those leaves curling down. Snowball bushes, the aphids just are all over the snowballs. So now's the time to get your preventative on there, because by the end of this month, I think we're going to have invasions of aphids as well too. We're seeing tons of them already.
Okay.
Yeah, so aphids, grasshoppers, squash bugs, I think are going to be problematic this year.
Something to watch out for.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for it.
Now, we were mentioning some specials that are on sale today for Mother's Day at Anderson Seed and Garden, and you mentioned you have a lot of hanging baskets, and I know that's always been a traditional gift in our family, get Mom a hanging basket for Mother's Day. But what's the secret to keeping those blooming all summer
looking
long?
Good. Of course, we've got a video that has gone viral on YouTube that has all the information on how to keep your hanging baskets looking great, but we'll talk about it here. The first thing we do is we hit them about once a week, well, not once a week, about every other week with the compost tea.
Okay.
And so compost tea is brewing right now. We brought in a new tank this year. I have a 250-gallon tank this year. So we haven't run out of compost tea yet this year, because we just keep that sucker topped off. So it's brewing constantly. So we have, for busy weekends, we'll have a fresh batch for everybody. That would be a good Mother's Day present.
Yeah,
I only
tea.
have about 10 to 15 2.5-gallon containers left.
Okay.
And so they're going to probably disappear today. So if you want to get Mom a refillable, free refills on a 2.5-gallon container of compost tea, you better get it today.
Yeah. And she can use it all
summer. Yeah, all summer long. So I had somebody in yesterday. They got 4 2.5s. Last year they got 2 gallons, and so they're like, it was awesome. I'm doing 4 of these.
Yeah.
So, and it's it's a good workout too. You're like,
that's true.
Those 2.5-gallon containers, they weigh about 25 pounds.
And they're great to put on all sorts of, not only hanging baskets, but we love putting them on our raspberries.
Right. So the compost tea is the first element. So we'll start with the compost tea and really get that soil as healthy as possible. All the beneficial microbes and microorganisms and mycorrhiza in there just makes that soil as healthy and viable as it can be. Then we recommend once every 2 weeks also you water with Easy Wet. Now the Easy Wet is a soil penetrant that comes in a liquid form, and when you use the Easy Wet, it makes it so that your soil will absorb and hold the water, and so your water gets spread evenly through your hanging baskets and through your planters. And when it's really hot outside, the soil dries up and it pulls away from the side of the pot. It kind of shrinks a little bit, it desiccates and it shrivels up, and so then you have a gap between the soil and the side of your pot. So then when you water it, the water finds that gap and just runs right down to the bottom of the pot and out the bottom.
Comes out of the holes.
Yeah, and then you think you've watered it. It's saturated all the way through when it has just basically run down the outsides of the pot, on the inside of the pot, but just down where that gap is, and it's run out the bottom. You go, oh, it's got plenty of water, so you move on to the next one. Well, it's just kind of hydrated the soil just around the outside of the pot, and where the root system is right in the middle, and the water hasn't even penetrated there. It's just dry as a bone. And so the Easy Wet prevents that from happening. So using the Easy Wet every couple weeks, it will make it so that when you add water to your baskets, it hydrates the soil evenly all the way through before it runs out the bottom. And the Easy Wet makes the biggest difference when it's 95 degrees outside. So if your baskets are struggling, it's the first part of July, we've started to hit 90s consistently, it's probably not enough. It's not that you're not feeding them enough. In most cases, it's the soil's not hydrating all the way through.
Okay.
And so they just really start to struggle. So the Easy Wet makes a huge difference with those. And so make sure and do that. And then a regular fertilizer regimen. And we fertilize twice a week with our hanging baskets, and we use a slow release fertilizer in the pots with them as well too, so that every time we water, they get fed just a little bit. if you're like me, I like to eat every day.
Mhm.
And the plants
sometimes even 3 times a day.
Yeah, even 3 times a day. The plants like to eat every day as well too. But if you only feed them once a week, I don't like to eat once a week. Plants don't like to eat once a week. Make sure there's consistent food out there for them, especially in those hanging baskets. So we feed on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, and we alternate between a high nitrogen fertilizer and a high phosphorus fertilizer. So the nitrogen makes them crawl, makes them cascade, so we can get those hanging baskets to cascade down 3 or 4 feet, and they look gorgeous. But to keep them blooming, we use the high phosphorus with the higher potassium in there to keep those blooms coming.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you got to use the 2 different fertilizers. One's to make them crawl, one's to make them bloom. And then throughout the summer, we watch for diseases, and you have to spray for tobacco budworms if you're doing lots of petunias, like the baskets that we do on Center Street and on Main Street, petunias, and they will just stop blooming in the middle of summer because the tobacco budworms have eaten all they've eaten all the flowers out. So we've got to consistently spray those to keep the budworms from having a snack.
And you need to spray what, about every 2 weeks?
We start in late June, and we spray about every 10 days to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, just to be preventative. And there's some really great natural insecticides that work great on caterpillars. So you could use spinosad soap, super effective and very, very safe to use. Won't bother your bees at all. It won't bother bees in the slightest. So very effective on caterpillars, especially those budworms. And those guys are just ravenous. They just eat everything. So yeah, we've got
sometimes how we are.
Yeah, exactly.
When we're at
Sometimes
the
I'm
buffet,
ravenous,
you know?
Yeah, we got 5 minutes,
Yes.
4 minutes.
Want to mention your Mother's Day gifts ideas that are on sale for this weekend. You've got some great deals, especially if you're looking to save a little extra money on geraniums with the secret phrase. So remember that for today.
So 4-inch geraniums regularly are $4.99. We've got them on sale for half price right now. But if you mention the secret phrase today, which is "Mum's the word," you can get an extra 50 cents off on all of our geraniums. We've got tons of colors on the geraniums. Our 4-inch succulents, they're usually $8.99. We've got them on sale for half price just today. And our jumbo packs of strawberries, there's 6 packs. The jumbo strawberries, they're usually $9.99. We've got those on sale for $4 today. So they're usually half price, but they're $4 today. So some really great deals on those. Hanging baskets look amazing. We burned through hanging baskets like crazy yesterday, but we brought some more in late last night. So I got some extras in. The roses look awesome. We have an amazing selection of fruit trees right now. So if you're looking for fruit trees, great time to come in and get fruit trees. I have citrus plants that just came in. So limes, lemons, tangerines, and a few oranges. I think the oranges might actually be gone, but you can always come check. Bougainvillea, mandevilla, some really nice, beautiful tropicals. So we've got some jasmine as well, too. These will make great presents for moms. But the roses look awesome. So the roses look really, really good right now. And I've got some gorgeous hydrangeas and some hibiscus trees. Just lots of this. We have so many shrubs that came in this week. We don't have room for them. And we have so many gorgeous flowering trees that we don't have room for. So come make some room at Anderson's.
Yeah, that's right. we need the space.
Come help us make some room at Anderson's. We had the same problem last year where it's like the weather has been so bad that we couldn't sell a lot of things because every time you dig a hole, it fills up with water. And so, last year it was like it would fill up with snow. Mm-hmm. And so we couldn't sell stuff in March and April. Well, this year we couldn't really sell stuff in March and April because it's so wet. Yeah. So come help us.
Everything's here.
Eliminate some inventory at Anderson's so we can bring some more fun stuff and it's a great time of year. It's so much fun to be outside, and we have some gorgeous plants in right now. So
and if you were to buy Mom a rose bush and then grab a bag of that Fertilume rose food, that takes care of
gets them going.
Yeah, takes care of it for the entire summer.
Yeah. And when you're transplanting, it's always great to use a soil amendment. And so, like when I did my pumpkins last night, I dug holes that were 3 times the size of the pot that I had them in.
That way it breaks up that soil.
It breaks up the soil, yep. And then I took that and I put that in my wheelbarrow, and then I added my salamander soil to it. And the salamander soil has a lot of peat moss and coconut coir and perlite in there, and I mixed it about 50-50 with the soil that I took out of the holes. And then I put some biochar in there, and I put some of the Garden Max in there, which is a nice compost as well too, and work that all into the soil, and then use that to backfill my pumpkins with. And that same technique works for tomatoes, it works for flowers, it works for shrubs, it works for trees, it works for roses. Dig your hole 3 times the size, amend the soil, and then water with Kanga Roots, because it just makes the root system go like crazy. And I'm excited about my secret ingredient.
Yeah. We'll have to see how that works.
So
okay.
We'll see how it goes. Maybe we will have it in stock next year, not just for giant pumpkins, but for all kinds of things.
All right.
All kinds of things.
Well, we thank everyone for joining us for the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning, and happy Mother's Day to all of the moms. And join us next week here on KVNU.
News Talk KVNU, Logan, 610 AM and 102.1.